All right, this is the welcome to the first inaugural Deepwater MMA podcast. I am your host, Dan Kennard, here with Cale Loveridge, an expert on most things MMA, I think, right?
Most
things. And we'll be talking UFC on Fuel TV 7, live from London in the afternoon. If you're listening, it starts earlier than usual. And I guess we'll just get right to it, right? We're going to go from the bottom up here. We have Matt Riddle.
I'm just glad you called me an expert to start this off.
Well, we have to.
That sounds great.
The illusion of authority has to exist for this to be successful, right? So,
you know, it's fitting that we start with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's nickname right now is Deep Water.
Is it?
Deep Waters. Matt Deep Waters Riddle.
Well, he might have to be our unofficial mascot.
I think he's our
for the site.
think he's our unofficial mascot.
He just became our unofficial mascot.
It just happened.
That's awesome.
Well, Matt Riddle is fighting Che Mills. Did you?
Yeah. How do you see that one going? It's the first card, the first fight on the main card.
Did you watch Rory McDonald Che Mills?
I did not.
I
don't know. Actually,
that was a good fight. That was a good fight. Che Mills is actually a really good stand-up fighter. Mm-hmm. He's got really good boxing, and he was beating up Roy McDonald pretty good on the feet.
Yeah.
And so Che Mills is no joke. He's actually the favorite in this fight. He's a British fighter, so I guess they're giving him the favorite being home. Kind of like a home turf thing.
Home cage advantage, right? Yeah, and it's an interesting fight because they're sort of different style fighters, right?
Yeah, Matt Riddle has really gone back to wrestling. For a while there, he got into the whole, let's see who's tougher, type of thing. Just wanted to fight, and he's gotten a little bit smarter. He's training with Rob Drysdale, who's an awesome jiu-jitsu guy. He's a world champion. Tapped out tons of legend jiu-jitsu guys.
Okay. So it's sort of it's like a battle of the stand-up versus the ground, you think, or what? Is that how this is going to unfold?
I think Matt Riddle is going to take Che Mills down, just like that's why I brought up Roy McDonald. Roy McDonald was getting, like I said, was getting beat up, man. He was getting tooled around by Che Mills pretty good.
And that's not nothing.
No,
yet,
he's
right?
he's a good stand-up fighter and all-around guy. Roy McDonald, of course, but
right.
I don't think Matt Riddle is gonna try to even box with Che Mills.
It's stupid to, probably.
If he does, then he's gone off the deep end. Mm-hmm. He really has gone
off the deep end.
Off the deep water, you know?
Way to work,
but
nice work.
Also, the little backstory there, Matt Riddle, when he fought last time in Manchester, got spit on by a fan.
That's right.
Right in the face. Matt Riddle's quote was, "He was lucky enough to hit me in the mouth." That's what he said. So I think Matt Riddle's got a little chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, we shouldn't. Matt Riddle is like you said, he's a slight underdog, but we probably shouldn't underestimate the motivation factor here for him because of that story. And I've heard this about him too. He's almost got like a problem with these British fighters. Like he's wanted to fight these British fighters. He's of them, somebody. He doesn't care even who it is.
He was talking smack about Dan Hardy.
Yeah, he wanted to fight Dan Hardy for a minute.
As soon as Dan Hardy got back in the UFC.
Yeah.
Poor Dan Hardy wins one fight, gets called out.
Right. And I remember actually Dan Hardy saying something like, "Well, what good would it do me to fight Matt Riddle for my career? That doesn't really even help me." So he's now got his wish. He's fighting Che Mills.
He doesn't have much of a name in the interviews and stuff. He says that he's not stupid. He's a smart guy. He says, "Oh, the reason I called out Dan Hardy is because Dan Hardy has a name and I don't."
Right. So it's a little strategic too.
Yeah, he's smart. He's smart. But then again, if somebody spits on you,
right, it'll piss you
I'd be pissed too.
Well, either way, it got him. He is now going to be on the main card of Fuel TV, fighting against. He's gotten his wish. In other words, right? He's gotten his wish.
He did.
He's fighting a British fighter now. He can get back. Sort of vicariously, I guess, right, at the guy who spit into his mouth, apparently, a couple years ago.
That's just gross. That's just wrong.
Yeah. So who do you see in this fight?
No spitting in people's mouths. People.
No.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You go to a UFC, keep your own spit in your own mouth.
Yeah, let's make that a rule starting now.
That's a rule. I'm picking Matt Riddle. I think
Matt Riddle? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to get punched in the face a few times, and he's going to say, forget this. I'm taking you down. I think he's a better wrestler.
Yeah.
Simply because there's really no wrestling background in England. You know, there's no amateur wrestling in England.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a American thing.
How
just American, but
right. How is Che Mills' footwork? Does he have the footwork that he could be able to stay away from Matt Riddle?
Like I said, I actually seen Che Mills fight before. I think it's the British Fighting Association or something like that. And he fought in Cage Rage, and I saw him fight before, and he's got good stand up. He moves well. He's got good boxing. He's not a great kicker. I don't think you're gonna see a head kick knockout here, but he's got good boxing. He moves well, and he's got decent takedown defense, but as we saw, he's susceptible to that. As soon as Rory got him down, man, he just pounded on Che Mills and TKO'd him, and it was vicious. So.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see a Matt Riddle TKO. It's going to be a wrestle fest, Matt Riddle style.
Matt Riddle decision.
Deep waters, baby.
Dragging Che Mills to deep waters.
For my first pick, I picked Deep Waters. How about that?
That's a fantastic first pick, I think. So you're going Matt Riddle by kind of a ground and pound decision?
It'll be a unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go in the same direction, actually. I think you make a lot of good points there. I think Riddle is going to eventually get his hands on Che Mills.
Let me say it again.
Clinch him, push him against the cage.
Matt Riddle is a 155 underdog, plus 155.
So you're saying...
That means you put $100 in, you get 155 plus,
right.
You know?
That's, so maybe that one's a little bit off, maybe?
I think the line is they missed it. They just missed the line on that one. It happens. He's in England.
Yeah.
Che Mills, you know, so.
And never underestimate the motivational factor there for Matt Riddle, right? You know, he's wanted this for a while.
Hometown favorite. I understand it, but,
right.
You know, I think Matt Riddle's going to win.
Right. Are they both coming off losses?
No, Matt Riddle has won his last 2 fights.
Che Mills is coming off a loss.
Actually, what happened to Matt Riddle? What happened to Matt Riddle is he won his fight. Oh, I forget the fighter's name, but anyways, he got busted for marijuana.
Oh,
and so it came to a no contest.
Riddle did?
Yeah, Riddle got busted. His fight before last. So he's on a 2-fight. Wow. Yeah, he's on a...
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was under my radar.
No, he got busted for pot, and so he got ruled a no contest. So he's got a no contest and another victory. None of them were outstanding victories. They're wrestling. He out-wrestled the guy, beat him up. I see that happening again.
See that thing happen? Okay, all right. So possibly some good value there with Matt Riddle.
So take Matt Riddle.
So we're working up the card. Next fight on the main card, James Tahuna, the Australian.
What an awesome name.
Right? Yeah, it is a nice name.
Come
Tahuna.
on, man.
I want to make a sandwich out of his name. Yeah. Versus Ryan Jimmo. Right? James Tahuna, the favorite in this fight.
Another awesome
name. At minus 230. Yeah, Ryan Jimmo, another nice name there.
Jimmo and Tahuna.
Jimmo and Tahuna. Any kind of vibe on this fight here? What are you thinking for this one? I know Tehuna's sort of a tough dude.
Yeah,
he's tough looking.
Oh, he's built like a brick house. Man.
Yeah, inflated a little bit, muscles.
Oh, God, that guy's a beast. And he hits like a freaking monster. But anyways, what I was going to say is Ryan Jimmo is coming off of the fastest knockout in UFC history. 7 seconds against Anthony Perosh. If anybody saw that, that was that overhand right that devastated that guy against the cage. That was a nasty, fast knockout.
Yeah.
And the thing about Jimmo is he's a good fighter. He's on a 17-fight win streak. He lost his first professional bout, and he's rattled off 17 in a row after that.
So he's 17-1.
He's 17-1 with 17 straight victories, the last being the UFC 7-second knockout.
Wow.
Saying all of that, I think James Tahuna is going to pound this guy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that coming after you set that up.
I know. I switched
you're going another direction there. So Tahuna's really just that much bigger and stronger? Is that the difference?
His brute strength, I think, is going to be his, his major point of victory. He's just going to manhandle Ryan Jimmo around and punch him and throw him. And If you saw James Tahuna's last fight against Joey Beltran, he punched Joey Beltran in the face more times harder, like consistently hard more times than I've ever. He
Right.
hit him so hard with I think it was a left hand in the first round. I don't know how his head was still attached.
Yeah, well, that's Joey Beltran.
Joey
right?
Beltran's
Right.
a freak. Yeah, that's
he's
just
like
him.
the Homer Simpson.
The only problem with
UFC.
yeah.
His strategy is just like to exhaust you from getting, you'll exhaust yourself beating him up,
That's great.
and then maybe he'll get you somewhere at the end. But yeah, Tahuna, I do remember that actually.
Yeah,
he battered him. He battered Joey
man.
Beltran, who is maybe easily battered, but not necessarily the same way that Tahuna battered him, right?
No, he really put a whooping on him, man.
Yeah.
And I like Ryan Jimmo. I think he's got a lot of skill. He beat Sakaju and a couple guys, and
Jimmo did?
yeah, man,
Okay.
he's a good fighter. But I just think experience too. The thing is, I like to look at streaks. I'm a big streak guy, but
Yeah.
all good things must come to an end, man.
Mhm.
I think that's what's going to happen with Jimmo here. He's got to lose sometime. I think it's going to be early in his UFC career.
Yeah.
And
So a possible learning experience in store here for
yeah,
for
if
Ryan Jimmo.
if you look at the odds, Tahuna is the favorite,
Right.
and I think they got that right. And he's a pretty good favorite there too.
Yes, he is.
So
Okay.
he's minus 230,
Man,
which is
17-1. That should be a good fight then.
yeah, man. Yeah,
I hate.
I think it's going to be a brawl,
Yeah.
and Tehuna's going to win. He's
Okay.
going to win the brawl. That guy is a freaking
Yeah, he
monster.
Is. He is.
Did I
So-
say he was a monster?
So we're gonna no ground game whatsoever involved in this. Do you
Well, the
think, or
thing
what?
is,
does Jimmo have anything to offer? Is that
no, not so much.
he should
He's
be
not a
doing?
great ground fighter, and he's not known for that. Tehuna got submitted by Alexander Gustafsson, so he's got but I don't see Ryan Jimmo submitting anyone.
yeah? Is there any history?
Not
of
even
that?
James
I mean,
Tehuna. No, he.
not so much.
No, he's more of a pound you out kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's really athletic
Yeah.
and strong, but so is Tehuna. So
Nice. So that could be like a sort of video game style fight where
Yeah.
they just meet in the middle and
watch these guys
hooks and straights and
punch each other in the
just
face for 3
whatever.
rounds.
Yeah. Last man standing kind of thing. All right, so you're officially going with James Tahuna.
I am.
I have to agree. Any particular prediction there as far as when it ends or how it ends?
I think he beats Ryan Jimmo up for 3 rounds, and if not, he's going to knock him out in the second round.
Okay, so
It's either gonna
possible
be
second
a-
round knockout.
I could see the first round being pretty close,
Yeah,
but Tehuna's power, man, he's just got power. I know Jimmo does too, but
yeah. So the heavier shots maybe to Tahuna
I think they're going to wear Jimmo down.
and slow him down
Yep.
to the point where he loses.
He's either going to TKO
TKO or
him late
decision.
or just
Okay.
beat him decision-wise,
Okay, nice. All right, I would agree with that too. I think James Tahuna's he's probably the rightful favorite there.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us up the card to the next fight here. We have Gunnar Nelson, one of the great first names I think
Gunner.
in the UFC. Gunnar Nelson versus Jorge Santiago.
One of my favorite fighters, man.
Jorge Santiago is?
I just like him
Yeah,
every
why?
time. He comes to fight every time, man. He's a good fighter, ground, stand up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, but I'm going to throw you for a loop again.
Okay. What? By the way, for the listeners at home, what weight class are we dealing with here?
Santiago when he first came into the UFC, I believe he was a 185, but this is a 170-pound bout.
Welterweight. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So surprise me here.
And
What do you-
Santiago is a big 170-pounder, man.
Yeah.
The problem with Santiago is when he fights outside of the UFC, I think he's more relaxed and he really lets it fly, man. And he kicks ass. I mean,
Yeah.
he's really kicking some guy's ass outside the UFC.
Yeah.
He had a great fight. If you've never seen Kazal Masaki versus Jorge Santiago, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to get on the computer and
YouTube
look
that
that
shit,
up.
everybody.
They fought twice. They fought twice
YouTube
in
it.
Japan in
Yeah.
Sengoku, and they were awesome fights, man. Back and forth, and you multiple times during the fight you thought, "Oh, it's over. Santiago's out." And no, he gets back. Masaki's done. No. It was a great fight. But
Back and forth.
he chokes in the UFC, man. I
was
don't
gonna
know
say,
what
I
it
mean,
is.
You're talking about those sort of back and
I don't
forth
know what it
fights.
is.
Does he tend to get himself into these scraps like that? Jorge Santiago?
He's a scrappy guy. You
Yeah.
know? That's how he fights.
Doesn't always
man.
work out though.
No, his chin is not the best. Actually, the first time I saw Jorge Santiago fight was in King of the Cage. which I don't even know if King of the Cage is still
Does it
around.
still exist?
I have no idea. He fought Diego Sanchez.
We'll put our research. We'll get our research department.
There you
on
go.
that.
Yeah,
we'll find out right now if or pretty soon.
So basically,
we'll get back to
one of us is looking it up
if
after
Cage
this.
Rage still exists. King of the Cage.
King of the Cage.
If that
yeah.
still exists, someone will Google that soon.
But he fought Diego Sanchez. That was the first time I saw Jorge Santiago.
Yeah.
And that was a great fight too. But first time I saw him in the UFC,
He gets a little tightened up or something.
he got knocked out by Chris Levin. I don't know if you remember that, fight fans or not, but his first 2 fights in the UFC ended up in knockouts. The first was Chris Levin, and the second was to Alan the Talent Belcher.
The Talent.
And
so does he? Do you feel like he just gets in over his head?
No.
Is his strategy bad? He seems like he doesn't have a good strategy.
Well,
He's getting knocked out by
his
these guys.
last 2 fights, you got to give him. He's lost his last 2 UFC fights, but you got to give him credit because.
Is he on the edge right now?
Yeah,
Could he get cut if he doesn't win?
He just got back into the UFC actually. Like I said, his last 2 UFC fights, he lost to Damian Maia and Brian Stan, which is.
Oh, that's not too
totally commendable. That's those are tough
no
dudes,
shame
man.
in that.
That's Brian freaking Stan, man. That guy is tough.
Damian Maia.
And
just work John Fitch.
How can you look down at somebody for losing to Damian Maia? That guy's a world champion, Mundial Jiu-Jitsu god. You know, maybe
he's
not
finally
god,
getting it back.
I might have went a little bit too far with God, but
that's too far. He's not a deity.
No. He's not a jiu-jitsu god. He's not a jiu-jitsu god.
Yeah, no. I think you made a good point though. I think you made a good point. So Santiago coming into this fight has 2 losses, but they're two of the maybe higher profile.
Oh man, I think he's got
guys.
As a matter of fact, he's probably got 4 or 5 losses in the UFC.
Oh man,
and I don't even know how many he's won. I just it's kind of sad because
is there a chance?
I remember his losses more than his wins, just because.
Is that a compliment? I guess that is.
It might be
right, to a fighter that hey man, you really lost well there. But okay, so from this perspective, think about it this way: is the UFC bringing? So this is like you said, this is his first fight back in the UFC after a short break. Are they bringing him in?
Well, he won
to this fight in order to because they know the kind of fighter he is.
He performs.
He's gonna put a good card on.
Yeah, he performs. He won his last 2 fights outside of the promotion. I think he had a KO and a TKO. So he's been kicking some ass outside.
Is he a lamb for Gunnar Nelson? Let's talk about Gunnar Nelson.
No, first of all. Yeah, let's talk about Gunnar Nelson.
What's his style? Break it down for people because I don't think a lot of people understand who he is. Or how he fights or what his deal is, really.
I didn't know much about him until his first fight in the UFC. Gunnar Nelson is Renzo Gracie black belt. And if you saw his first fight with DeMarcus Johnson, he dominated DeMarcus Johnson. And DeMarcus Johnson's not a high-level black belt or... He's a good fighter though, man. He's tough. He's a tough dude. That's an ex-Marine. That's a tough dude, man. He dominated. Yeah. And Gunnar Nelson is from Iceland.
Oh well, that means something to me.
I mean,
geographically,
he's got to be
Iceland
tough.
Except train.
He's got to be tough. He's from freaking Iceland.
He trains every day the way Rocky trained in Rocky IV. Right? He's like carrying logs up snow-covered mountains.
He is Rocky IV,
and you can't stop that. Right?
His ground game is awesome,
How
man.
do you stop that?
I don't know.
So he has a good. So is he more of a stand-up or ground guy? I'm not totally familiar with Gunnar Nelson.
Dolph Lundgren couldn't do it, man. I don't know how you stop
Dolph
it.
Lundgren can't do it.
Jesus.
Santiago. So are you leaning a certain way then? I feel like maybe you're.
I think I know what's going to happen. I think Gunnar Nelson's going to
tell the people.
Oh, he's going to grab.
People want to know what's going to happen.
Good, because he's going to grab hold of Jorge Santiago. He's going to Damian Maia, John Fitch this dude, man.
Really?
He's going to be all... But the thing about Gunnar Nelson is he's more of an attack guy more than Damian Maia. Damian Maia's an attack jiu-jitsu, but he's more technical, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gunnar Nelson is known in the jiu-jitsu world for taking on larger opponents and beating them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a tough dude, man. And he's an awesome ground fighter, and he's going to submit Jorge Santiago in the first or second round.
Wow, that's a bold prediction there.
It's going to happen.
Submitting first or second round.
Yeah.
If you were putting money on the first or second round, which one would you go with?
I'd probably pick the first round just because you don't have as much sweat on you and you're not as slippery. But don't be surprised if he just rides him like a Damian Maia style and eventually submits him because Jorge Santiago has a good ground game, but he's not on Gunnar Nelson's level.
Not good enough.
He's not on the same level.
Interesting. Nice. So it sounds like as soon as Gunnar Nelson gets his hands on him, clinch, grab, whatever, as long as he can stop from prevent himself from getting punched in the face.
It's
going to
be a jiu-jitsu clobbering.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu clobbering. I don't even know if that's like a real thing, but we just made it a real thing.
I think I just coined that term.
I think we just made that up right now here on the Deepwater MMA podcast.
Feel free to use it. Feel free to use that.
Yeah, a jiu-jitsu clobbering. Nice. So it's going to be like a painful.
It's going to be a painful
experiment.
Jiu-jitsu clobbering.
Okay. All right. Well, it's hard to argue against that. I guess I'm going with Gunnar Nelson too. I think I'm going to go with the favorite. He's minus 250 on the cards here. We're looking at those are Bovada odds. Do you feel like that's good value? Is he sort of being underrated here at minus 250?
No, I don't think so.
Or is that about right?
That's about right because Jorge Santiago stands a chance. I mean, he's a good fighter. You got to give him something. I mean, and it's, you got to, I'm saying this stuff. Oh, he's going to submit him in the first round.
Right.
Barring he doesn't get knocked out by Santiago, who's got great kicks, flying knees. I mean, it's MMA, but I got to make my predictions.
Yeah, you gotta plant your foot
and stick with it.
Yeah,
man.
All right, so we're into. There's 3 fights left here on the main card. Coming up next, Jimmy Manua.
Manua. I don't know how to say it. That's how I like to say it.
Munawa. We'll have to get him on the podcast one day to
Jimmy. Call me.
Us. And versus Cyril the Snake Diabate.
Cyril the Snake.
We're getting into the part of the card where people maybe know the names a little bit more. But what about talk first about Jimmy Manua? What do we know about him? Because I think Diabate's been around a long time. Manua has not.
We know that Jimmy Manua is an English fighter. Mm-hmm. He didn't start training till late in his life. I think 26 or something like that. Man, he didn't. I know he's an athletic guy. He must have been doing something athletic before that, but he didn't start training MMA at all until he was like 26. I think he's like 32 now or something.
Wow.
He's only been training like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And he'll knock you out, dude.
That's the story. That's the
Kyle Kingsbury's eye. I don't even know if it's ever gone down. It's probably still swollen. From that
he's still
fight.
icing it right now.
It was a doctor stoppage in Manua's first UFC fight because he closed Kyle Kingsbury's eye. I mean, it was
Kingsbury's no joke either.
No, he's been getting beat up, but man, that's a tough dude, man.
Yeah, Kingsbury is a tough dude.
He's a big guy too.
The last time I saw Kingsbury, I thought, he looks like Randy Couture. He had his head shaved. And he had like the little red tights on, and he was sort of muscly. You know, he's like a younger version. He had like the little 5 o'clock going. I was like, man, he looks like a sort of maybe like Randy Couture looks.
Do you remember when he fought Glover Teixeira? His style.
I don't know.
He looked like
your memory is better than mine of all these things.
He looked like a '70s porn star. It was ridiculous. He had
a mustache going?
He had a sick mustache and a nice man fro going. It was beautiful.
It wasn't enough to win though.
No, he got pounded, man. We won't even talk about that.
So is this fight like that fight?
No, Cyril Diabate is a badass Muay Thai fighter. Mm-hmm. Very good kickboxing, long reach. Right.
The Snake is an appropriate nickname.
First time I saw Cyril Diabate fight was he fought in Pride. I used to be a big Pride fan when they were around, man. I used to watch a lot of Pride. I loved Pride. I almost wanted to cry when they went away.
Yeah, I think
the way they put together their cards, man. Every fight was awesome. I mean, the main event was the main event, but there was 6 main events on one card.
Were there?
That was one of the things that people didn't like about Pride, though. They treated their fighters, like animals, man. They just threw them in there with different weight classes and after getting knocked out, they were back in there 3 months later, which is not the way to do it.
A little bit of an edge to Pride.
You get a 6-month medical suspension now when you get a concussion, so you can't fight for 6 months. There'd be guys back
Yeah.
I mean, look at Gary.
Taking
Look at
short-notice
if
fights or
anybody
something.
doesn't know, Gary Goodridge is having a lot of problems. Look at Gary Goodridge, man. He beat a lot of people up, but he got beat up a lot in Pride too. Type in Gilbert Yvel versus Gary Goodridge, and make sure there's no kids in the room.
Yeah.
He looks like he kills him with a head kick. It's bad.
Oh God.
That's a very memorable knockout. His wife, Gary Goodridge's wife, runs in the ring, and doctors. And,
really?
oh man, you should see it.
Yeah, I need to get caught up.
Anyways, well, back to Cyril
Yeah,
Diabate. Sorry,
we can digress.
I
This is
digress.
the Deepwater MMA podcast.
I'm going
we
deep.
Occasionally digress into some deeper
deep.
waters. That's part of the deal.
Yeah, the first time I saw him fight, he fought Shogun in Pride, and he was doing really good standing up against Shogun. And a lot of people don't know this about Shogun, but he's got pretty good takedowns, man. He can take you down.
If he wants to.
If he wants to.
Right.
Cyril Diabate was getting the better of him standing up. Caught him with
Wow.
a couple knees, like in the face, was punching him. And Shogun took him down and ended up stomping on his face. And, yeah.
Fight over.
No, like really one of the bad stomping, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
One of the bad Pride stomps, really straight down, 12 to 6 stomp.
12-6 face stomp. Do you think that's? I mean, obviously you can't do that in the UFC. Do you think they should? Do you think they should allow that?
No.
Too much?
I was a big Pride fan, and
Right.
I think it worked for them and everything, but it's a little too brutal, man.
A little too brutal.
Yeah, and I like knees on the ground. I think that punishes people for doing a crappy shot, man. If you shoot and I sprawl, I should be able to knee you in the head if we're on the ground.
Yeah.
But anyways,
not the stomps, though.
No standing soccer kicks and stuff, man.
Is there any one? If there was one rule from Pride that you could bring over into the UFC that the UFC doesn't allow, what would it be?
You know what I liked about Pride, which is
techno entrances.
Bring the announcer back.
The announcer.
The snake. that lady was crazy.
What is she doing now? What is she doing?
Awesome. I don't know. She needs to be in the UFC.
Looking for Dream or something?
She can take Buffer out any day.
Yeah, right.
Man.
Man, Buffer, that's a whole other can of worms. That guy's at every event.
Oh my gosh.
They have backup announcer teams and everything, but no backup Buffer. He is literally all over the place.
It's like he's eternal, or it's like he's
There's more than one Bruce
in
Buffer.
100 years. Bruce Buffer's head will be in a plastic tube, and it'll still be announcing the. Through robotic body, he'll still be announcing the
Yeah. Have you ever seen
call-ins.
the movie Multiplicity with Bill Murray?
Yes.
Where he recreates himself?
Yes.
Bruce Buffer must have done that. There's got to be, because how the hell does that guy go from like Australia to Vegas in like 2 nights, right?
Who was that?
And they have those back-to-back cards like that. Those crazy setups.
That wasn't Bill Murray. That was
Bill Murray.
the guy who played Batman horribly.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, the worst Batman of all time. Jesus, don't get me started on that.
Okay, so Jimmy Manua, we'll circle back here.
Look,
Jimmy Manua and Cyril Diabate.
Look,
what's happening here? Where's this going?
Jimmy Manua is strong, he's tough. Cyril Diabate has great reach and great striking. They're both great strikers. Cyril Diabate is going to take Jimmy Manua to school on standing up. Jimmy Manua has no ground game. I've never seen him take anybody down.
Manua,
I mean, of course he trains it and all that, but I mean, using it in a fight and training is 2 different things. Cyril Diabate is a world-renowned kickboxer. He's fought Shogun. He's fought some tough guys, man. And
what about
Jimmy Manua is 12-0. You got this is a tough call. This was my hardest fight to pick.
Yeah,
and I hate to pick against him, man, but I think Cyril Diabate is going to pick him apart.
Really?
And Cyril Diabate's got a good chin. That's what I'm thinking. If Jimmy Manua doesn't catch him early, he's going to tire, man. That guy, if you ever seen Jimmy Manua, he's got muscles on top of muscles.
Yeah.
He's got too much muscle.
Too many muscles. Someone said that
he's
going to
tire.
That I had too many muscles.
Did they say that?
Yeah. Not enough oxygen for my muscles. So you're taking Cyril Diabate in like a sort of stand-up clinic.
Were they kidding?
Is it a? They weren't serious. So Diabate, doesn't Diabate? I mean, he's the snake, right? I mean, doesn't he have some ground game that he could use here against Manua, or is he not going to need it?
He's actually been submitted in the UFC.
Diabate?
Yeah, and he beat Gustafsson submitted him, and
That's
so did Anthony Peroche actually. Anthony
right.
Peroche got knocked out in 7 seconds again.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, by Ryan Jimmo. Sorry, Perosh.
Yeah.
If you're a fan.
Feroz,
I like you, dude. You're good.
Seems like a nice guy.
But Cyril Diabate has beat Luis Kane, who Luis Kane kind of faded, but he
remember Luis Kane.
Luis Kane, yeah, remember that guy? He faded and he's kind of gone, but he was pretty tough. That's a tough dude, man. And Steve Cantwell, who I don't know what happened to Steve Cantwell, man. Yeah,
good question.
He was a a good fighter, man.
That should be a whole other podcast.
You know,
one day,
Steve,
where we just talk about fighters who were just like, remember that guy who used to be around?
What happened to him?
Who we totally just forgot about? Yeah,
he
that's
sells
two
cars.
guys right there. Two guys.
He sells cars in West Palm.
Yeah,
he's delivering flowers on Valentine's Day.
Right now he's out delivering flowers.
You know, I think it's appropriate too that we started this on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Because my love for MMA.
This is our tribute to
and all fighting
Kale's
things.
love for MMA. Yeah.
It's a long time coming, man. How long have we been talking about this?
This podcast?
This podcast, 3 years?
A long time.
Man.
A long time. Yeah, we're finally doing it. We hope people listen. Feel free to email us at the website, DeepWaterMMA.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Canardistry. You can find me, again, on DeepWaterMMA for my actual spelling of all that stuff.
Canardistry, that's...
Canardistry. You get what I'm saying? You see what I'm doing there with that?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I understand.
It's a solid Twitter handle.
I understand where you're going.
Yeah. So you're taking Diabate by a finish, or what? What do you think?
No, decision.
Decision?
Yeah.
Unanimous?
Even maybe a split decision. They're probably... I think Manua's going to hit him...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's going to hit him with a few big shots. Mm-hmm. And if Cyril Diabate is still the Cyril Diabate that I know and have seen fight, he should be able to take a few shots and come back, man. He's a tough dude. Yeah. And he's huge. He's like 6'4", 6'5", or 6'6".
He probably should have played basketball, right?
He's like he should be called the Spider, man. I know that's Anderson Silva, but God, that guy's built like a spider. If anybody is.
That's true. Right. Well, I'm actually believe it or not, I'm going the other direction here. I'm taking Jimmy Manuwa, the favorite.
Guaranteed pick here on our podcast.
One of us is going to be right.
One of us is right. Guaranteed pick, people. You hear that?
Write this down. One of us is going to be right.
I'm taking Cyril Diabate. By the way, that's my underdog pick of the night.
Underdog pick of the night.
Underdog pick of the...
Circle it.
Day? Night?
Day? Yeah, I guess it's day.
Week?
Depends where you're watching from.
Month?
I'm taking Jimmy Manuwa. I'm taking him. He's at home. He's psyched up. He's young. He's powerful.
He's freaking big.
He's
black
big.
Guy. Scary.
Yeah. like Diabate, tons of experience. I totally get that. He's.
You know, Diabate,
I guess I'm just thinking that maybe Manuwa is going to overwhelm him.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe if he doesn't overwhelm him, at least right away, that Diabate could maybe. That's where you start getting into those weird split decisions or something, right?
Yep. That's what I was gonna say. If it might be
like
a
two
split.
ways this goes, really.
It might be a split because of Manua's big punching power, and sometimes he'll tend to lean. He might be controlling the center of the cage a little more, and Cyril might be circling around him. So I'm interested.
So Diabate has to survive until Manuwa runs out of oxygen for his muscles, and then he's good after that.
Survive the onslaught.
Yeah.
And see if you can't get him to deeper waters.
Deep waters. Drag him into the deep waters, Diabate. That's why we do this here.
You know, Cyril Diabate is not a big, muscular built guy. He's a skinny dude, man. And and he could go. I personally haven't seen a fight where he gets super tired. I've seen him lose and and things like that. He's 19-8. So that should just tell you the guy's good, but
there's something. There's something there.
Yeah, he's got a penance for losing.
He's got some kind of Achilles heel or something.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
But he's tough, and I think
underdog pick of the night for value at least, right? For the chances of winning.
Yeah,
Diabate looks like maybe a good play as an underdog there.
Yep, yeah. He's a plus 195 in Cyril Diabate.
It's doubling your money right there.
Yeah,
pretty
man.
much,
you gotta even if you know what,
for the chance maybe.
Even if you don't think 100% he's going to win, it's not bad to put a little bit of money and see what happens on that. Because that's a great return,
That's a good point, actually.
Almost 2 times, it's 195.
Yeah.
It might as well be 200.
Yeah.
I don't know why they...
And Manuwa's kind of unproven, right? I mean, he's an unproven guy.
He's had one fight in the UFC.
One fight in the UFC, and I'm assuming he won, and now he's moving up a notch, right? So there's a lot of hype behind Manua.
Yeah, he crushed Kyle Kingsbury.
But there's been a lot of hype behind a lot of guys, and it hasn't always worked out. So I understand. I see where you're coming from.
Plus, you know what? Fighting in front of I don't know if it's his hometown, but it's definitely, he's from England. It's his country, you know. And representing your country sometimes can be a big burden, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's
a
big
big thing. All
too.
your family's there watching you.
Right.
Who wants to get knocked out in front of your girlfriend, man?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Break up with you.
Yeah. On the week of Valentine's. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to get knocked out Valentine's week. Come
on. All right, so the first difference of opinion there, I think, right? That's the first one we've gone different ways on. So Diabate maybe is the underdog pick of the night there for Kale.
I will prove you wrong,
and
Dan.
this could be the beginning of him proving me wrong. I'm gonna go with Manua though, and I'm gonna say second round TKO.
Ooh.
I'm going second round TKO for Manua. Just power shots until Diabate collapses or something.
Until he just falls on his face.
That's sort of what I'm hoping happens.
Speaking of falling on your face, man, how is that Alistair Overeem, not Cain Velasquez, oh jeez, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Antonio Silva. I was thinking Cain Velasquez, Antonio Silva. How was that finish, man? Was that, I've seen a lot of fights. That's in my top 5, however many.
That was crazy.
Top 10, whatever you want to say. That was a great finish, man. That was a great build up to that fight. Yeah. That was a great fight with Alistair Overeem coming out, giving some brutal fucking knees, man.
Yeah, a little kind of cocky.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine getting kneed by that dude, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
But man, you got to give it to Bigfoot, man. He came back and he was not scared of Alistair Overeem.
No, he didn't back down.
He never backed down.
No, you're totally right.
He never backed down in an interview. He didn't back down in the weigh-ins. He didn't back down in the fight, and he knocked him out, man.
Yeah.
Like, standing up on his feet, knocked him out, dude. Like, how big is
If you predicted that and you bet on it, you made a lot of money that night.
If you predicted that, call me.
Yeah, please.
And let me know all your picks. Yes, we'll invite you.
Yeah, please email the website if you predicted a third round knockout by Antonio Silva over Alistair Overeem, because I think you'd be the only one probably who picked
What a great fight, though, man.
So all right, there's 2 fights left on the main card of UFC on Fuel 7 from London.
2 great fights.
2 awesome fights, right? We've been working our way up to this. Hopefully you're still listening. We have Cub Swanson versus Dustin Poirier. Poirier from Louisiana.
Louisiana, baby.
Louisiana.
Tim Kruder protege. Do you remember old Tim Kruder?
Tim Kruder, I do. I remember Tim Kruder.
From The Ultimate Fighter.
We got the French, right? And Dustin Poirier, he's got that sort of French Cajun Louisiana thing going.
Are you taking that angle to this one?
I'm not going to reveal who I've picked just yet. But
French Poirier versus the Spanish Swanson.
Yeah, the culture of where the fighters are from often pathetically plays a big role in who I pick. It's not the best strategy. But so this is
works. Hey man, whatever works for you.
Right.
That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how good or bad your strategy is. If it works, it's obviously good.
Yeah. So this is, according to the betting lines, this is actually the closest fight of the night.
Yeah.
Right? Cub Swanson -125, Dustin Poirier -105.
Yep.
And anytime you have 2 opponents who are both minus something, you're flipping a coin.
You should at least turn your TV on for this fight.
Yes, if you're going to miss the whole beginning.
If you have like some wedding to go to and your girlfriend or boyfriend is going to pull you to something.
Yeah.
Slip away and watch Cub Swanson versus Dustin Poirier.
Yes, you'll at least get the last 2 fights in. Is there an edge here? What's the edge, if there's any edge between these 2 guys? Because the odd makers are saying that there's barely any edge.
I think
to Cub Swanson maybe because people know who he is.
Yeah.
And Dustin Poirier maybe people don't know as much who he is. I think
if
you've been paying attention for a little bit. You know he's very good.
Oh, he's an excellent fighter.
He lost his last fight, I think.
No,
Poirier? Or has he come back since then?
Poirier fought.
Skipping a fight?
Poirier fought Jonathan Brookins on his last fight, and in the first round, Jonathan Brookins was getting the better of the stand-up.
I like Jonathan Brookins.
Me too, man. I do like.
Cool dude. I'd hang out with Jonathan Brookins.
Yeah, man. I could see me and Jonathan Brookins just hanging out.
Yeah.
You
Spending
know,
a late night.
Maybe
playing
not.
video games or something together.
Maybe
I don't know.
that sounds weird. Now we're getting
Meditating
weird.
together.
There you go. The guy,
Yeah.
Jonathan Brookins too, man. That's a big, tall dude, man. For 145 pounds, jeez, he's like 6 foot tall or
Right.
something.
Yeah. Featherweight contest here.
But Cub Swanson of lately has been a beast, man.
Yeah, he's coming on strong.
You know, Cub Swanson, his first fight in the UFC, he fought Ricardo Lamas.
Yeah, he had a moment there.
And he lost.
Yeah.
Which you know, Ricardo Lamas is a badass. We're just learning that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not
late to the game. He's,
that's not.
He's been doing very well. Lately.
You shouldn't look down on yourself for losing Ricardo Lamas. That guy's a stud. But the thing is, his next 3 fights, he knocked out George Roop, Ross Pearson, and Charles Oliveira in a row. 3 knockouts in a row, man.
Oh, jeez.
And Dustin Poirier is coming off of the Jonathan Brookins fight, but before that, he fought the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung-jung, one of the fights of the year of 2012. Awesome fight. But if you look at that
That's the fight he lost, right?
Yeah, he lost.
He lost that fight.
Yep.
That's the one I was thinking of.
If you look at that fight, he started to fade a little bit, but maybe that was also the Korean Zombie just puts a relentless pace. I mean, that's why they call him the Zombie. The guy never stops moving forward. And if you haven't seen that fight, there's another one: Dustin Poirier, Chang Sung-jung.
Get your subscription to the UFC Vault and watch that.
Those two went at it more than anybody I've seen in a long time. Flying knees, big Hail Mary punches. It was a great fight, but anyways, let's get back.
Yeah, what do you think? How do you see this one?
Let's get back to this fight.
How do you see this?
Let's
one
get back to this
happening?
fight.
Because this is the
first of all
the toughest one to pick.
Dustin Poirier is a more technical fighter than Cub Swanson, but Cub Swanson's athleticism is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He's got great athleticism. He's one of the most athletic guys in the UFC, and for years and years we've been hearing about how from his trainers, from Greg Jackson and those guys, how great Cub Swanson is in the gym, and even his teammates. I mean, any interview you would hear about Cub Swanson would be how much of a beast he is in the gym, and you know he's beating everybody up in the gym. Even the heavyweights. No, maybe not, but he's beating everybody up, and you never really saw it too much. He had, he would win spectacularly, but then again he would lose. Like if
inconsistent, he's sort of inconsistent.
Yeah, if
anybody has been.
He has been in the past.
Up until lately, he's been inconsistent.
Cub Swanson fought Jose Aldo in the WEC and got hit with a double flying knee. And that was one of the quickest, most devastating fights I've ever...
Like a single is plenty. But
he got hit with a right knee and then the left knee in the air. But the only reason I bring that up is because I think after that you could start to see... He was always serious with his training and stuff, but he... kind of took it to another level after that. Not directly after that fight, but from that point on, he's been more of a better fighter. I mean, I don't know what you say. He's just been more confident, and it looks like he's
settled into things.
A little bit more relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, his power's grown immensely. 3 knockouts in his last 3 fights, and Dustin Poirier is a awesome striker, good chin. He's got good ground game. We're talking about Tim Kruder. He just moved to American Top Team. He's left-handed, which is tough.
Yeah.
His last fight with Jonathan Brookins was his first fight at American Top Team, and he's been training at a small gym, I think, for years with Tim Kruder before that. Well, Tim Kruder was a representative of ATT, but I don't think they trained there full time.
So Poirier too is sort of advancing in different ways. He's
man.
Training with different training with different camps.
Well, yeah, he's at ATT now, and that's
he's pushing himself a little further along.
He definitely is. If you watch, let me break it down for you real quick. I think Cub Swanson's going to win, and if you watch Dustin Poirier's last fight with Jonathan Brookins, when he submitted Jonathan Brookins with I believe it was an anaconda choke or a darce choke. I think a darce choke, but so he darce choked Jonathan Brookins, and he was getting, like I said, he was getting beat up the first round, Dustin Poirier, by Jonathan Brookins. Yeah. And he got smart in the second round, took him down and submitted him. And I think that while Dustin Poirier has a great ground game, he won't be able to take Cub Swanson down. I mean, Cub Swanson doesn't have the best takedown defense. But he's got good takedown defense. Good enough for Dustin Poirier, who's not really a wrestler per se. He's more of an MMA all-around guy. And if anything, I would say his stand-up would be, Dustin Poirier's his best area.
Yeah.
But I think Cub Swanson's power is going to end up being the difference in this fight.
Yeah.
He's just tough and powerful, and he's not going to get taken down by Poirier. And a lot of people are picking Poirier, I heard, for this fight, even though Cub Swanson is the
slight
favorite.
Very, very slight favorite.
I think they're right. They got it right. I think he's going to slightly win. This is my fight of the night. This is going to be an awesome fight.
Nice.
And watch Cub Swanson tag Dustin Poirier with a few very hard hands and maybe finish him in the third round.
Okay, possible finish. Otherwise, what, a decision probably?
Yeah, did he... 29-28 type
29,
thing.
28 kind of thing? Nice.
Yeah. 29-28, 29-28, 29-28.
Unanimous.
For the winner, Cub Swanson.
Right. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think if this fight happened like 2 years ago, when Poirier was, kind of cruising along and a lot of people were talking him up, right, that maybe, I think people would probably keep picking Poirier. And maybe people are thinking about that still because, I think when you're watching these fights, they happen, there's so many fights, you sort of forget about like the sort of trends of the fighters in at least in the recent times. And Poirier's 1-1 in his last 2 fights, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, he was getting picked apart a little bit there by Brookins before he was able to take it to the ground. So the question really becomes, can he take Cub Swanson to the ground and do anything there? And if the answer is no,
you got to give it to
then
Cub, right?
Swanson seems to have the other advantages, at least in a slight way.
I don't think Cub Swanson's going to strike him technically. He's not going to outstrike him, go blow for blow, but he's going to hit him harder and
shots,
knock him down a few times, that kind of thing. And
yep.
Cub Swanson throws some crazy flying knees and back kicks and stuff,
which is a little creative, right?
Yeah, man, it keeps you on your toes, And Dustin Poirier doesn't really do that. So
a little bit of Pettis in him, maybe, with that creative stuff.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right, well, we got Dustin the Diamond. Maybe not. I'm actually. I thought about this fight too because I think this could be the fight of the night myself, and I was tempted to take Poirier. I was tempted.
It is tempting.
He's one of those prospects that I think people like to ride. You know?
No, I like Dustin Poirier.
Right.
I was on the Poirier train.
But I think I'm gonna back off of my own sort of subjectiveness. I like him.
Did I talk you out of it?
Yeah. No. You make a lot of good points.
No.
Right, but I think. Because, Poirier against the Korean Zombie, right? I think, going back a little bit, I think I picked Poirier in that fight, and I was just sort of disappointed.
Yeah.
And you make some good points about Brookins. So, a little bit of maybe Poirier, I think maybe he's still, to some degree, like, riding the hype of, like, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, he is. And,
right?
and
like, people sort of remember that more than they remember him losing to the Korean Zombie. And his sort of unspectacular win against Brookins, right?
Yeah,
so that's 2 fights in a row.
That's a great way to describe it, actually.
Unspectacular, yeah. And then you have Cub Swanson on the other side, right? 4 in a row, like you said. He seems to have found his sort of methods. He sort of knows how he wants to do things now when he gets in the cage. Maybe a little, maybe maturity. I mean, could we say that is like maybe the key?
Yeah, no, he's a young guy still, man.
As like the key, maybe like a maturity difference because I think it's almost like the Diabate Manua fight, like. That's a great comparison. The maturity level of the fighters.
While Dustin Poirier
might make the difference in a close fight.
Yeah, while Dustin Poirier might be better in a few years, I think Cub Swanson's better right now. That's really what matters,
right? All right, well, let's. So I'm going Cub Swanson myself.
Also, one of my things, if you watch Dustin Poirier, at his last victory over Jonathan Brookins, he almost broke down in the ring afterwards. Man, he really. It looked like he was feeling like he was going to get beat up, and he pulled it out. He looked like he was.
So maybe he's under some pressure that
I think
we don't necessarily understand.
I think he went from nobody knew about him to pretty hyped up, and that's tough, man.
Yeah, and he's back in the co-main event, and that might maybe. That might be a little too much for Dustin Poirier. Should be a great fight, though. I'm looking forward to that one, actually.
Cub Swanson,
minus 125 might be some good value there.
That's my pick.
Might be more Cub Swanson than it seems based on the odds, maybe. I don't know. Should be a great fight, though. Should be good. That brings us to the interim bantamweight title fight.
Yes.
The first title fight on Fuel TV.
Yes.
So they're up in the game a little bit. These events are coming hot and fast now.
Fuel TV,
and they're getting better and better.
Fuel TV is getting a little bit bigger with the UFC. First title fight, 7th card.
Mm-hmm.
Fuel TV 7. So
right.
Good for Fuel TV, man.
Yeah, good for Fuel TV.
And I heard that most Comcast subscribers now will start to get Fuel TV because of the Fox deal.
Really?
That the UFC has. So
Nice.
if you guys don't have Comcast,
It's good for the Comcast folks out there.
screw you. No.
Yeah, if you don't have Comcast, what are you doing if you don't have Comcast?
No, I'm just kidding.
So this is an interim bantamweight title fight. It's one of the rare occasions where a fighter actually defends his interim belt.
I don't like the
That
whole
almost never
interim
happens.
thing. I don't like that because
Yeah, I am with you on that. I think.
I don't
think
think
a lot of people are with you on that.
I don't. But then again, you know what? I don't like the idea of stripping Dominic Cruz. He never lost.
It's
But, I mean,
uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable idea.
yeah, it's a weird thing. I guess
It's like a hard decision.
Really, the interim belt, the whole interim belt thing is the easiest way to deal with it. kinda.
Yeah. So
Let's talk about it though, man.
Let's talk it up.
Henan freaking Barao, baby.
Yep.
That guy's this.
Michael Mayday McDonald.
Mayday.
I love the nickname Mayday.
I just like
I
Michael.
feel like he's jumping from a plane.
I just like Michael McDonald. You know, his whole demeanor, man. He's a good fighter. And
He's dead serious
He's a
about
tough
it, that's
dude,
for
man.
sure.
He's
He's
a tough
dead serious.
kid, and he's only like.
Yeah.
I should have him in front of me. I think he's 24 or something. Or
He's very young. Yeah, I think
He's-
he is 24. I think that's right.
23 or 24, man. He's a kid, and
So we have Barao. Barao's on a 30-fight win streak right now. A 30-fight win streak, by the way, is probably one of the longest streaks any fighter's had
yeah.
in the UFC
No, I think
with UFC fights under their belt, right?
I think
30 fights.
if we're gonna
what?
look it up, that's got to be the longest.
gotta be the longest.
win streak in MMA history.
Maybe one of the
I
longest. I mean,
believe
you're
so.
getting up into like Fedor land here, right? And
Yeah,
some of these other
Fedor
guys.
went undefeated for like 6 years, man.
Right?
Which is gnarly.
20-something
Think about
fights.
it, man.
I mean,
In the fight game for
30
6 years,
Yeah.
and you don't lose,
That's
dude.
nuts.
And you're fighting Nogueira and freaking
everybody.
monsters,
Crow Cop, right? All
Cop,
these
and
guys.
this when they are all in their,
and their
prime.
primes. Yeah, good.
Anyways,
times.
we digress. Henan
But,
Barao.
Barao, a big favorite in this fight. Actually, I was a little surprised when I looked at these odds. To be honest with you,
You know what's cool about Henan Barao?
minus 300 for Renan Barao.
Yeah.
You gotta put your
Yeah.
money where your mouth is.
That's
if
a
you're
lot.
going with Barao. McDonald possibly being underrated to some degree here. I'm not sure. Barao.
I don't know if Michael McDonald's
It's hard. It's
underrated or Henan Barao is just that good, man.
Yeah, that's maybe what we'll probably find out. I mean, we will, right? But
What I'm impressed with Henan Barao, you're talking about is he lost his first fight by decision.
Mhm.
He hasn't lost since, man.
yeah,
That's a badass right there. He lost his
Yeah.
first fight, and he
Yeah.
said, "Forget that. I ain't losing no more."
yeah.
And,
30-fight win streak on the line here.
I don't know how you. Honestly, I like
hard to
Michael
see him
McDonald.
losing, really.
I like Michael McDonald. He's a tough guy. He's got great boxing. He knocked Miguel Torres flat, unconscious,
Yeah.
bad, where you're like scared for freaking Torres' health. But, and he caught some. Man, he fought Chris Carrizo,
Yeah,
and he was catching him. That was a great fight too.
Yeah,
but,
they both did actually, right? That's like their one.
Yeah,
common
yeah, they
opponent.
both fought Chris Carrizo, and but I don't know how you can pick against Henan Barao. If anybody
Yeah.
saw his last fight against Uriah Faber,
It was intimidating, to say the least.
it's going to be the same fight against Michael McDonald.
I think-
Michael McDonald is a boxer. I mean,
Mhm.
he's an MMA
Right.
guy. You know,
Right.
he's a mixed martial artist. I'm
Right.
sure he has great kicks and all that, but he uses his boxing most effectively during his fights.
Mhm.
Henan Barao can box. He can kick. He can jump sideways and kick you in the face. He can
Right.
submit you. I read a little thing with Chris Carrizo. He said he was so surprised at how good Henan Barao was on the ground. It like freaked him out, man.
Yeah.
He was like a step ahead of him everywhere he'd go. So
That's.
I don't know how you can pick against. The way I see this going is Michael McDonald's a good stand-up fighter, right? He was the
Right.
Tai Chi. You ever watch
The Tachi Palace
Tai
fights?
Chi Palace?
Yeah, yeah.
He was their champion. He was
Yeah,
their,
that's what I heard about
He was their
that.
Tai Chi Palace
And he's
fights
only,
champion.
like you said, 24.
Yeah, man. So he's no slouch. But
Right.
what I'm saying is, Henan Barao has too much right
Yeah.
now. He's got,
He's
I said,
he
he's
seems
got
to be
kicks,
peaking completely right now.
and
Yeah.
he trains with in my opinion, the best fighter in the world right now, Jose Aldo.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's better than Jose Aldo in their division. I mean,
He kind of made Edgar look a little easier than
yeah,
most people
even
did.
I know John Jones is spectacular, and even Anderson Silva. But I mean, I'm just really
right.
impressed by Jose Aldo's speed and just tenacity.
They actually they look like they fight the same kind of way.
You know, maybe maybe I'll take that back because Anderson Silva definitely is the most dominant fighter in history. Probably the most dominant fighter we'll ever see. But other than
after
old
that,
AS,
it's a debate after that.
I say Jose Aldo, man. And he trains with Jose Aldo every day.
Yeah, that's great. Because they're pretty much almost the same weight class, right?
Well, Jose Aldo's 145, and Renan Barão's 135, and Renan Barão said if Jose Aldo moves to 155, which he's been talking about a lot because Jose Aldo is getting a little older, and it's harder for him to make these weight cuts. He's actually gets sick a lot, which I heard. From cutting so much weight, It's
What's
so
he walk around
it's
at,
so
Jose
hard
Aldo?
on your body. Oh, I heard he cuts 20-something pounds. So if he walks around at like 170.
Yeah.
Or 175, that's 20 pounds that he's got to cut, and that's a lot of weight, man.
It is a lot of weight.
And a lot of guys are good at cutting that much weight, but he's not a wrestler. He was actually a semi-pro soccer player in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's got good cardio. I mean, soccer players have great cardio.
Yeah.
But it's just a different thing when you're fighting, man.
So, I mean, Renan Barão,
cutting weight, that was my point. You don't cut weight in soccer,
Right. Renan Barão, I know, when he fought Uriah Faber over last summer, he really kept great distance. From Faber. Faber couldn't get his hands on him.
Oh, not at all. His distance is amazing.
And another sort of incredible, maybe deciding stat was that he defended all 6 of Uriah Faber's takedown attempts in that fight. He just brushed him off.
Yep.
He didn't even. And you're talking about Uriah Faber, that's sort of his thing to some degree,
dude,
right?
Uriah
to be able to
Faber,
get his hands on you
and
work you around a little bit.
If Uriah Faber grabs you,
yeah,
you're almost anybody besides Renan Barão, you're going down.
And it seemed to be no problem for Barão.
Yeah.
And that makes that almost, when I just reading that sort of statistic makes me think that it's hard, that you can't really pick against Barão in this fight.
Yeah, he's
as great as McDonald is.
Yeah,
McDonald's a great fighter. He's gonna get another shot, I think you could say, right, in a year or so when he maybe after this. I'm probably giving myself away a little bit here. I'm going with Barão myself. He's sort of got a little slightly stronger competition, I think. Right? Barão's fought Faber, Scott Jorgensen, Brad Pickett in his last couple fights. McDonald knocked out.
Let's talk about that for 1 second.
Yeah.
Watch the fight with Brad Pickett. Brad Pickett is an English fighter.
Uh-huh.
He's an excellent boxer. He's got great movement. He's got good hands, good head movement, good feet.
Yep.
And Renan Barão caught him with a standing knee, and followed it up with punches, and then choked him out. That was
wobbled him a little bit.
Super impressive, man.
Pickett's no joke. He's one punch.
This is what's going to happen. Renan Barão's combinations will be the difference in this fight. It's going to be, like I said, it's not going to be exactly Uriah Faber, Renan Barão, but it's going to be like that. I think Michael McDonald's hands are a lot better than Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber probably hits harder, but Michael McDonald's technicality is better. Yeah. And what's going to happen is Renan Barão, his leg kicks. He's going to kick Michael McDonald's legs until he can't stand anymore. That's going to be it. That's going to be the fight, man. Renan Barão kicking and punching while Michael McDonald's just trying to punch, and Michael McDonald cannot take Renan Barão down.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you can't take him down, and you're not better at stand-up.
Yep. And
so if you don't...
He's going to make Michael McDonald... kind of, one-dimensional, but
I understand.
Maybe an ineffective one-dimensional, right? He won't even be able to punch him that much. Maybe.
If Michael McDonald doesn't catch him early, it'll never happen. First round or nothing for Michael McDonald, because Renan Barão's got great cardio. Like I said, he trains with Jose Aldo, Novo União, and is a great school down there.
Barão doesn't give anything away. He doesn't give anything away. Just the way he holds himself in the cage.
I think he's too much.
He's hard to get. You can't touch him, kick him, punch him.
I think he's too much for anybody at 135.
Yeah, he seems to be at this point.
Regardless if your name is Michael McDonald or Dominic Cruz. It doesn't matter. Renan Barão is going to be the champion. I actually knew about Renan Barão before he came to the UFC just because of his fight streak, man. He just heard of this little guy from Brazil that was winning, won 19 or was it 19?
Care who you're
20, 24, 25 in the row before.
I don't care who you're fighting. If you win 19, 20 in a row, like that's impressive because just the way fights go, there's always these different ways to lose. So to go that undefeated for that long is really impressive in the modern day MMA. You know, regardless of what organization it is, that's just impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming. So Barral, what's your prediction here? What's the
Renan Barral unanimous decision.
unanimous
50-45.
5 rounds, all 5 rounds,
50-45s across the board.
Okay, so you're crediting McDonald maybe for a certain amount of toughness to not get TKO'd.
Oh, he's a tough kid. Yeah, I don't think he'll get TKO'd. If he does, it'll surprise me a little because I think he's really tough. And if you don't know, Michael McDonald's had a messed up hand for a while too, man. He just had a couple months ago had hand surgery and he's coming off of that. So
that's a total factor for me.
It is, man.
Trying to break this down. Yeah. I'm going with Barral too. I think I'm tempted to go decision. I'm tempted. Maybe I will. I think I'm going to go decision. I'm going to go 5-round decision, 50-45. I think maybe McDonald will have a moment or two that he can take home with him to work on and build from and all that. But I think Barral's just going to be too sort of compact almost, right?
I think he's
the way his stance is, the way he holds himself.
Too lanky, man. He fights at a great range, and he's a tall fighter for 135. He's a big guy for 135, so...
Yeah.
Hey, man, we'll see.
Perhaps we're still building towards this Barral Cruz fight, which we'll cover perhaps eventually if Cruz ever is able to come back.
If his knee ever heals,
if his knee ever actually heals, then maybe we'll have that fight happen. So yeah, credit to Barral for defending his interim title, his interim bantamweight title, and we're both going with Barral in this one by decision. Michael Mayday McDonald should put up a good fight, but I think we will see him again in a title fight. But,
bold prediction by Dan.
But
Michael McDonald will come back.
He will be back in a title fight. Maybe a year from now. I'm thinking. Maybe like next Christmas he'll work his way back in somehow. I'm not sure about the rest of the bantamweight division, but I know he's somewhere in the top 3 up there. But yeah, Barral minus 300. What do you think of the odds? Minus 300 plus 230. Is he that much of a favorite? $300 to win 100. That's pretty big. Would you do that?
I would honestly. I think they're a little off on this one. I would probably only give them minus 200 or something.
So maybe
if I was handicapping it. Yeah, it's a little inflated. But then again, money moves the line. So it might have started at minus 250 or minus 200 and bump the line. So I think a lot of money's coming in on Renan Barral. And if you're not putting money on Renan Barral, you got balls, man.
Yeah, if you're working against Barral, you're working against us.
Good luck,
here at Deepwater.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, that brings us to the end, I think.
Nice.
Of our first ever podcast. UFC on Fuel 7, right? Live from London. It's in the afternoon. So your Saturday night is still wide open to take your girls out on dates and do whatever else you're doing that weekend. So enjoy the fight. Wake up late, put on the prelims, and enjoy the next couple hours of your life.
Just fight all day, party all night.
On Fuel TV. Yeah, should be good.
All
right, Kale. Well, it's been good. And we'll be back here next week with a little bit of a breakdown of UFC 157. Anything you want to say about UFC 157 before we close this out?
Friggin' wait for UFC
First
157.
women's title fight.
First women's title fight. Dan Henderson, Lyoto Machida. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good card.
Jeez. Uriah Faber, Ivan Menjivar rematch. Josh Koscheck, Robbie Lawler. Court McGee, Josh Neer. Come on.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So we'll be back next week with some more thoughts and opinions on that card. And we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Deepwater MMA Podcast number 1. You're in from the beginning here. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next time.